Wait, I think I was okay. I was in the middle of one of the things. This one. I last met the cowgirl, Ultra Saber Lucis. So let's check out volume 3 with the other one. So when you think stuff is beginning to make sense, it all slips through your fingers, becomes stranger and more alien. There does, however, seem to be one thing that remains constant through all planets and walks of life. That thing is friendship. You are on the prowl for more. It would have perhaps been wise to stay with one of your wonderful new friends until you're fully healed, but as Martha Stewart said, visitors like fish begin to smell after 3 days. You're almost positive Martha Stewart said that. Nevertheless, you soldier on your endless quest for companionship. Where will your travels take you next? Alright, I guess let's go meet Bronia Ursama. She can be a brony. She was great. I really liked Skilla Koriga here. Just fantastic. You look adorable. Let's go meet Bronia. You've been traveling through a cave network for a while now. I really like the background art in this game. Homestuck, despite its fandom and how cringy a little bit of the creators are being, has always had beautiful art. The rigid stone is a welcome respite from the eerily organic infrastructure you've been encountering, but it's also proving an unwelcome respite from friend making. Maybe it was too much to hope for that this cavern would be home to another potential new buddy. Maybe leaving the big city behind was a horrible mistake. Maybe we'll meet an olive blood. They live in caves. Just maybe, these dark, cold tunnels are completely devoid of. Oh, hang on, there's a bunch of buildings in the distance. Oh, hello. I thought you were one of my girls, but you don't look like a Jade Blood or anything else, actually. How strange. Okay, wait, is she a Jade? Oh, no, she must be one of the caretakers. You convey your usual spiel regarding your circumstances. You're lost and lonely, and your ribs are still broken, you think? Honestly, the ribs were fine. You could just use another friend or two. I see. My first responsibility is to my Jades and the Mother Grub, so I can't make any promises of friendship just yet. But you do look like you could need someone to take care of you. Here in the Brooding Caverns, we follow a few simple rules. Don't invite drama from the top down below. From up top down below. Protect the Mother Grub. Wait, 1. Don't invite drama from up top down below. 2. Protect the Mother Grub. 3. We have no hierarchy, but do what I say. Let's do everything we can to keep up our current record of dozens of sweeps without any Jades being cold. You're not sure what half of those words mean, but you nod your head. Good, I'll take you to our hive. Follow me. You follow her into her hive, which looks like a school or some kind of dormitory with multiple rooms and multiple floors. Usually more of my Jades are around. I suppose that everyone is out watching the Imperial drones arrive with the filial pails. Girls, we have a visitor to our caverns. 1. Do not be alarmed by their bizarre appearance. They seem to be harmless and quite weak. 2. Do not give them more injuries than they already have. Our visitor deserves a warm Jade Blood welcome. She claps her hands. No one else is around, but you stand to attention and give her the thumbs up to show that you read her loud and clear. You notice that she called you visitor and not friend, but that's okay. You can do whatever it takes until you're upgraded from visitor to friend, or at least charity case. You follow her upstairs, and she stops at a big room on the second floor. When you step into it, you have to clap your hand over your mouth to keep from gagging at the revolting sight. There are big, baby-sized larva-looking things all over the floor, squirming around and crying and inchworming out of kiddie pools of green slime. What the hell? This is our nursery. Most of these wigglers are sick or injured, so we look after them in here until they're well enough to go back out to the caverns and spin their cocoons. She looks shifty all of a sudden, giving you some side-eye like she's sizing you up. You try to look very non-threatening and also 100% trustworthy. We keep this nursery on the down low. It's not against any laws, but it's something of a break with tradition to save any of the grubs instead of just letting them die. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure why we do it. I guess it just feels right to me to take care of them, the same way I take care of my Jades. A nursery, huh? You look around again with this new information. You guess you can sort of see how the Wigglers look like babies. You can't believe that one of these things could grow up into anything that looks like Bronia, but this is an alien planet, so who knows? She takes you over to a shelf that seems to hold medical supplies. You're not sure what can be done for your broken ribs, but maybe she has some kind of alien technology that can help. But when she starts going through the cabinet, you don't see anything that looks high-tech like the thing that fixed your arm. I guess most of what we have is the stuff of the Wigglers, and I am not familiar enough with your bizarre anatomy to know if it will help. But if you're not completely sure how to do something, it's best to try anyway. Even if you fail, everyone else can still learn from your mistake. Maybe you won't fail. You never know. Oh, I forgot to hit one, too. You're not so sure about applying this ethos to your broken ribs, but she looks so determined. It might be rude to say no. Okay, go for it. My ribs are already broken, so where's the harm? Thanks, but no thanks. I'll heal my own just fine. Let's let her treat me and see how that works. Okay, come here. Lift up your shirt so I can get to your injured below sac enclosures. Yes, just like that. Injured below sac enclosures. Yes, just like that. Turn the part that's all bloody and horrifying towards me. She has something that looks like some kind of ointment. It's a shade of bright green, similar to the slime beds you see around the nursery, and it also seems to be glowing. Seems like there's nothing wrong about applying it to your skin. But despite your optimism, the second Bronia rubs some of it on your broken skin, you feel a searing hot pain like you just got doused with poison. You flinch back instinctively. Your momentum carries you too far, and as you step, you trip on something behind your feet. Oh no, is it a grub? You cartwheel your arms, but it's no use. You're going down. You're yelling timber. You feel something soft and squishy break your fall, and you hear a terrible squelching noise and some kind of animal squeal. Oh no! You have fallen right onto one of the wigglers. You roll off of it, but there's no use. It's squished flat, and you're covered in olive fluid that you think might be its blood. You look up to see Baronia's horrified face and know that there's no hope for friendship in those vengeful eyes. You might want to run before I throw you out this window and break the rest of your bones. Oh no! Cave over. Oh no, the little squished grub. Alternia's deadliest ass. So far, in two of the timelines, we have killed trolls with our ass. Right? Let's check out for Protea again. Alright, and thanks, thanks, I'll heal just fine on my own. Oh, well, if you're sure. I'm worried about you, though. You seem like you need help, and I wish I could help you more. If I can't take care of someone, I'm not sure how we can ever truly be friends. You try to cheer her up, pointing out that friendship is a two-way street after all. She doesn't have to concern herself with your mutilated frame. How can you help her instead? Well, sure, there are things around here that I could use some assistance with. However, don't take this the wrong way, but we've only just met. I don't know that I can trust you to be as responsible as I am. It's not easy to be the one in charge. You have to be 1, conscientious, 2, considerate, and 3, competent at all times. You try to think of times in your life when you've been conscientious, considerate, or competent. You're drawing a bit of a blank, but hey, new planet, new you. You assure her that you have what it takes. I guess if you want to prove that you can be responsible, I can let you help me out today. It's a good time for a visit to the mother grub. You're careful to step around all the little guys on the floor as you head out of the nursery. She takes you back outside, and these caverns are even bigger than you first realized. They're also dark and cold and gloomy, and you can't see anywhere that might lead up to the planet's surface. Does she really just live down here all the time? To make some conversation during this cold hike in a damp cave, you mention that living underground seems kind of depressing. You realize too late that this wasn't very tactful, but she doesn't get angry at your conversational gambit of insulting her home. Oh no, it's very peaceful down here. Well, in comparison to anywhere else. I quite enjoy it. The brooding caverns are a place for life and birth, not death. That's pretty uncommon on Alternia. You're still not sure what she means by brooding caverns, but you guess it has something to do with the wigglers in her nursery. Before you can ask, you reach the top of a ridge and get a new, wider view of the rest of this cavern. It's enormous, probably the size of a small city. All over the cave floor, you see more wigglers crawling everywhere. Cocoons line the cave walls and the larger stalactites, with some young trolls crawling out of them. Walking, flying, and crawling among the wigglers are young trolls are a variety of white monsters of all shapes and sizes. In the center of the cavern, there is, you don't even know how to describe it. It looks like a huge many-legged queen bug of some kind, with a goat-shaped skull and horns coming out of her head. Her bulbous sphincter ripples as she lays a continuous stream of hundreds of eggs, from which you assume the gray wigglers will hatch. And marching through all this, you see several hulking bipedal creatures, each carrying two buckets either to or away from the mother grub. They look armed and they move like regimented troops, soldiers of some kind. You're instinctively terrified of them. This is where the magic happens, and by that I mean the continuation of our species. Jade Bloods like myself are entrusted with looking after this process, which of course is a very special job. 1. The Imperial drones carry filial pails of genetic material to the mother grub for her slurry. 2. She lays eggs that hatch new grub broods. 3. After the Wigglers emerge from their cocoons, the new trolls will go through the trials, and the ones that make it will be selected by Eleusis to help care for them. Together, the young trolls and their Luci go up to the surface together, where the trolls will grow up, or get cold, or whatever. As Bronia explains troll reproduction to you, one of the Imperial drones veers sharply to the left and in the process tramples over a few Wigglers and young trolls. The drone continues on, but several of the Luci cry out, crowding around their dead or injured charges. One of them, a gigantic beast that resembles a bison, bellows and rears up on its hind legs, hitting one of the other Luci with its front hoof. Oh geez, not again. This kind of damage control is a lot of what we have to deal with. Whenever Lucis goes rogue out of grief or confusion, there's a potential for it to lash out at other Luci, the Wigglers, or the Mother Grub herself. We Jadebloods cannot let that happen. She looks so concerned, a marked contrast to how confident she seemed before now. You offered to help her out earlier, and it seems like now is your chance. Someone has to stop that rogue Lucis, and that someone could be you? You offered to help her out earlier, and it seems like now's your chance. Someone has to stop that rogue Lucis, and someone could be you. Alright. Well, we did pretty good with the cowgirl troll and her dog Luci, so, maybe we could fight a bison? The bison Lucis seems to be causing quite a ruckus. Other Luci have now gotten riled up too, with some of them trying to gather Wigglers and keep them out of harm's way, and others just getting hyped to thrash. It seems like they could turn into a monster stampede, and they're close to the mother grub's big, soft, vulnerable abdomen. Not great. Fighting a monster single-handed seems like a daunting first step in a friendship, but you did tell her you could be responsible. You square your shoulders and tell Bronia that she has nothing to worry about. Taking a sip of my drink. You're going to stop that Lucis, calm down all the other Luci, and protect the mother grub, all without breaking a sweat and hopefully without breaking any more bones either. Whoa there, I was going to suggest that I go after it while you stay here. You seem kind of weak and fragile, even apart from your injuries, I mean. I don't want you to get hurt worse, and I'm not sure I trust anyone other than myself to take the lead on this. It wasn't quite the reaction you were hoping for. Normally you would be all about sitting back and letting her protect you, because, well, protective and responsible is a good look on her. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and you don't know how else you're going to prove yourself worthy to be her friend. You do your best to project an air of competence, or at least competence. You assure her that this is no sweat for you. You take down raging bison back into your home planet all the time. You're known for it, actually. Well, if you say that this isn't your first ungulate roping gallop exhibition, I'll believe you. I'll hang back to let you give it a shot. But if it gets too overwhelming in there, I'm right here. 1. Caring for the mother grub is my responsibility as a Jadeblood. 2. I'd never abandon a friend to deal with a mess on their own, if we end up being friends, that is. Oh, hell yes, now you have reason to hope. Oh god. You approach the rampaging bison with caution. Do all bison have horns like that? Maybe they do. You're no bison expert, but you're pretty sure they don't all have teeth that nasty. Bison on Earth mostly eat grass, don't they? This guy doesn't look like an herbivore. At first you try to calm the Lucis down by talking to it, but your soothing words have no effect. In fact, you might have just made it even angrier by suggesting that it pause and take some deep breaths in reaction to its trampled charge. You're not even sure it can understand human speech, come to think of it. You circle around it, wishing that you had some kind of lasso or something. Maybe you can herd it away from the mother grub. You look around to see if any of these other Luci look vaguely like Earth Shepherd dogs, but no dice. You hesitate too long and the Lucis turns away, its furious eyes falling on the mother grub. It stamps its hooves, snorts air out of its nostrils, and screams in a way that sounds a lot more hellish than you imagine normal bison are capable of. It's obviously about to charge, and you can only think of one thing to do. In desperation, you leap forward and tackle it football style, doing everything you can with your flimsy human body to drag it onto its side. It half works. You plow into the Lucis and stop it within its tracks, but it topples over into a nest of Wigglers, taking you down with it. Wigglers and young trolls go bouncing everywhere, squealing in distress, and their loose eye descend upon you in a rage. Everything is chaos for a while. You're trapped beneath a bison lucis, which is very worrying for all your body parts, and you think you might feel something important rupturing inside of you. But hey, on the bright side, this crushing mass is protecting you from all the other pissed off Lucii trying to attack you. Just as your whole breathing situation is starting to get dicey, you hear a commotion and what sounds possibly the trouncing of some of the smaller Lucii that were trying to get to you. The crowd of beasts around you scatters, and then you hear her. Oh, I'm having a hard time getting this thing off you, and he's still very angry. He keeps trying to kick me. Where's a bronze blood when you need one? You don't know what that means, but you're very grateful that she's here to help you. You try to communicate this, but it comes out garbled from all the blood in your mouth. Maybe don't try to speak, or move, or help. You experience a sinking feeling that could be related to your diminishing odds of impressing Bronya and becoming her friend, or it could be the compression of all your internal organs. Either way, it's tough to feel optimistic right now, but before you can give in to complete despair, you hear other voices. Your view is blocked by the massive bison flesh on top of you, but could it be? Are these other people here to save you? Finally, I was wondering where you all had gotten off to. Let's all work together, girls. You two grab its horns to keep the head still and keep it from biting anyone. 2. The rest of you come around with me to its backside so we can push it without getting kicked. You hear some grunting and muttering, and the bison starts making noises that sound more confused and less furious. The pressure and pain on your chest briefly spike in intensity, and the thing's weight shifts, and then they must succeed in dragging it off you because suddenly you can breathe again. But the crisis is not over yet. While you're still testing the use of your lungs and blinking up at the cavern ceiling, you hear a new cacophony of enraged monster noises. Uh-oh, the other Lucii are still agitated. Get down there and try to calm them down. Protect the mother grub! You try to lift yourself to see what's going on, but putting any weight on your arms makes you feel like maybe all your bones got turned to confetti. Painful, painful confetti. You feel strong hands propping you up gently, and now your head is in Bronya's lap. You try to focus more on how this is a nice place for your head to be and less on the pain. This is not good. I don't know if my jades can reach the stampede in time, and the mother grub could get injured, not to mention all these wigglers in danger. Oh no. You didn't think this situation could get any worse, but now you see that several of the Imperial drones that have been about to leave the cavern are turning back, drawn by all the noise and chaos. But maybe this could be a good thing? Maybe they can instill some order? Ah, fuck, they're going to kill everyone. She scrambles to her feet, in the process letting your head whack down on the cave floor. Your vision swims, but you can still make out the drones firing indiscriminately at the Lucii, the grubs and wigglers, at the jade bloods. One laser beam skims the side of the mother grub's massive midsection, and her scream is so loud that the ceiling shakes, and a few stalactites shake loose, falling on drones and Lucii and wigglers alike. It's a total catastrophe. A whole rainbow's worth of troll, wiggler, and lucis blood is splattering the cave walls. Bronya seems paralyzed by the chaos, looking from her jades to the mother grub to the imperiled wigglers like she's not sure who to help first. I can't believe it. This is the worst disaster we've ever had down here. And all because I thought I could sit back and let someone else be responsible for once. If I were a less secure person, I could let this moment plant a seed of self-doubt in my mind about my ability to take care of others and do my job well. Or I could chalk it up to you being really fucking stupid. You shrink under the weight of her gaze. She's green in the face from how angry she is. You swallow and manage to spit out enough blood to ask a question that you can barely know is hopeless. Does this mean you can't be friends? Are you serious right now? I do not make friends with anyone who recklessly endangers the trolls and wigglers under my care. Game over. You killed them all. Oh no. Okay, righty then. Okay. Go to the next thing. That was, heal on my own just fine. Be a weenie. You definitely do not like the idea of wading into a monster fight, not even to save the progenitor of your new friend's species. I'm pretty sure there won't be another one, but... In fact, you don't like that Bronya is so focused on protecting all these helpless toddlers and distressed animals instead of taking care of you. You stammer out that you don't think you can take any kind of monster right now. In fact, you just felt another stab of pain in your ribs. You might be blacking out. Bronya's concerned face turns in your direction as you start to swoon. She catches you before you hit the ground, and your heart flutters. You look up at her serious face, and she looks like such a mom, but also such a friend, like some sort of combination of these two concepts. Yikes, you don't look so good. I can't leave you alone, not when you're in such bad shape. Maybe I could carry you on my back while I try to stop the rampaging Lucis. Your heart flutters, turn to pinpricks of alarm. That sounds dangerous, mainly for you. You try to think of something to say to dissuade her, something other than, I think you should ignore the helpless babies and mother in danger behind you in favor of continuing to hold me in your strong arms. But before you can speak, you hear a commotion behind her. She turns to look over her shoulder, and her face sags with relief. Yes, the other Jades are here. They should know what to do. We've taken care of crises like this before. Of course, usually I'm there to help. If you crane your neck, you can just glimpse a crowd of trolls corralling the rogue Lucis away from the mother grub, while the other trolls calm the remaining Luci and swoop up any wigglers in harm's way. Looks like I needn't have worried. They're more than capable of stepping in while I'm otherwise occupied. I'm so proud. You take this opportunity to compliment her on what a good leader she must be to have trained the others so well, super smooth. She beams at you and sets you down carefully on the cavern floor, kneeling at your side. This could have gone quite badly. I'm glad I didn't make the wrong choice when I stayed to help you instead of rushing off. It just goes to show, sometimes the best thing you can do for the group is take care of the weakest person in it. You kind of want to object to be calling the weakest person, but you did just fake a fainting spell for attention, so maybe now isn't the best time. Instead, you thank her sincerely for sticking by your side. The two of you watch together as order is restored. As order is gradually restored to the chaos below, and even with your injuries, you feel close to content and quite hopeful about how this relationship is progressing. You notice that at your side, several wigglers are blindly squirming around, confused and crying. There are some young trolls there too, looking around all lost and bereft. You're not sure if their Luci ran off with the others that got involved in the fracas, or if these little guys are orphans now. Now that you're seeing them out in the natural cavern light, the wigglers look less like maggots to you. In fact, they're even kinda cute. You can see why Bronya would want to take care of them. One of the smallest wigglers close to you has somehow flipped himself over onto his back and seems unable to right himself, his little legs waving in the air while he cries. Trying to be careful with your ribs, you reach out to scoop him back up and cradle him to your chest, rocking him back and forth until his cries quiet down. Well, you have a very strong nurturing instinct. I think he likes you. You almost look like you could be his Lucis, or a Jadeblood. You are pleased that she approves of your caretaking display. The wiggler's cough breaks, and your haze of smug satisfaction, and you look down and you realize he seems to be having some trouble breathing. You point this out to Bronya. Good observation. You really are a natural at taking care of other creatures, aren't you? Some people find that nurturing ability to be very attractive in a potential friend. But as for the Wiggler, this is definitely not a good sign. I'm surprised none of the drones have noticed that he's sick. If we leave him here, he'll be cold for sure. Bronya takes the Wiggler from you, and you're more than happy to hand him over, considering that you have no idea what to do with a sick baby that's not your species. Also, your broken ribs make holding a baby kinda painful, and Bronya holds the Wiggler carefully but with perfect ease, just like you hope she'll cradle your new friendship in its infancy. Once Bronya feels assured that her Jades have the situation at the Brooding Caverns under control, you both take the Wiggler back to the Jadeblood nursery. You hover around uselessly while Bronya sets up some kind of crib filled with green slime. You're a little concerned when she takes the Wiggler and submerges him under the slime because, he's already having trouble breathing? Surely drowning in slime won't help. The soaker should help strengthen his bellow sacs and soothe his sorrow shoot. When he gets healthy again, I'll take him back to the cavern and set him free to make his cocoon and pupate. But he's so small, it's unlikely that he'll survive the trials or be selected by a Lucis. You hate to see Bronya looking sad. You try to be sympathetic, mentioning your astute observation that this whole system set up with the Wigglers and the trials and the culling seems pretty brutal. What? Oh no, I would never suggest. This is just the way the world works, and it's fine. It's fine. The trials are how young trolls prove that they're strong enough to survive. It's only right for the weak to be cold. It's the purpose of Jadebloods to ensure the continuation of our species, and consequently the hemospectrum. 1. We are not revolutionaries. 2. We're meant to do our jobs and keep our heads down, and keep things running smoothly. 3. I would never presume to question the basic tenets of Alternian society. That would bring negative attention from the High Bloods, and I just want to keep my Jades safe. You look around at the nursery and all these injured or underdeveloped Wigglers that Bronya was apparently supposed to let die. You think it might not be true that she doesn't question the way her world works. She's looking at you like she's scared you'll call her on it and expose her altruistic tendencies. You try to salvage this conversation thread. Did you say that culling Wiggler sounded brutal? You meant neutral. Yes, you feel 100% neutral on this topic, neither committed to the culling side of things, nor eager to take up arms in revolution. Ah, yes, neutral is how I feel about it as well. What a good word to describe exactly how I feel about all controversial political subjects. Did I mention that keeping this nursery isn't technically illegal? Because it isn't, technically. There is no reason for any of Triz's drones to come investigating our hive, and if any drones do come knocking, we have nothing to hide. No borderline revolutionary ideas will be tolerated within these walls. Bronya laughs nervously and is looking around the room, like she's making sure that any Imperial drones hiding in here heard her announcement. You feel bad for how nervous she is. You didn't mean to freak her out. You tell her that she sounds super convincing, and why shouldn't she? Because she's clearly telling the truth. I'm gonna take a sip. If you were an Imperial drone, you would definitely be satisfied right now with her clearly law-abiding and neutral ways. Thank you, that means a lot. You cast about for something to change the subject and mention that your ribs are feeling a bit better. Bronya's face brightens, and she lifts up your arm gently so she can touch the injured part of your torso, examining it in her typically responsible and authoritative way. You shiver and wonder if her touch has healing properties. I'm glad to hear that. After all, I don't like it when my friends suffer. Your heart leaps. You look up, scarcely allowing yourself to hope. Could it be? Or was she just making a general statement? If you're not in any more pain, hopefully that means your injuries will heal soon. I'll take care of you until then, my friend. You are overcome, your eyes fill with tears. Bronya smiles at you and squeezes your hand. Oh, victory! Self-care comes first. That's adorable. Hmm. Those two are really sweet. Like, a lot of them are really sweet, and they're all a little bit fucked up because, like, it's Homestuck, what do you expect? But those two are particularly sweet. Okay, Volume 4, A Right and Wronged. Fresh from your most recent bout of gratuitous bodily injury and touching scenes of camaraderie, you soldier on. You've had a few setbacks, made a couple silly choices. Boy, do things just keep happening. Let nobody say that you, the main character, are incapable of growth and change. You have made sure not to be caught in the wilderness near dawn again. You have made your way back to civilization. You can't wait to discover what new adventures await you. Adventures like friendship. Okay, we have Tagora Gorjek, very interesting looking teal, and Vicari Ratide or Vicari Radite. Got a teal and a bronze. You look really fun. I'll save you for the next one. You wander down a street in a not too demolished looking part of town, but you don't really take much of it in. You're not looking where you're going. This is an elementary mistake, especially on a planet where everything that exists seems to be on a spectrum of engineered specifically for murder to could be a weapon in a pinch, but you've got a lot on your mind. And now, as the car, these guys probably have some ridiculous word for it, but you haven't learned it. You hadn't noticed slams into you, sending you flipping head over feet. You add a few new concerns to your list, your bones and organs. The sound of the driver yelling, "Watch where you're going, lump squirt chugger," fades away as they drive away as you assess your situation. You stretch each limb in turn, which you've got to say doesn't feel great. You landed in a bush which is covered in sharp spines. Your arms and legs still work though, and when you do an experimental cough, no blood comes out. Pretty lucky, you think. You may have redefined what luck means by this point in your journey, but you'll take what you can get. You don't figure that luck will extend to this driver turning around to help you out of this bush, your gazes meeting and sparking an immediate and intense connection that leads to a beautiful lifelong friendship, but you let yourself hope. After a few minutes of struggle, the answer to your comradely daydreams comes into focus above you, a figure outlined by the spiny leaves of your plant prison and the glow of the moons. The troll you see isn't the driver of the car, but you don't care. Your heart is beating wildly with your continued lucky streak. Hello, you seem to have fallen victim to a collide and scamper with that scuttlebuggy back there. Scuttlebuggy. Oh my god. Have you contracted your personal Legis Lacerator? If not, I'd like to offer my services. He's charging me money. My name is Tagora Gorjek, but please call me Gorgor. I'm here for you, for a nominal fee, of course. He pulls a business card from a sleek teal vest and offers it to you with a precise flick of the wrist. His claw beds are perfect. You try again to sit up, buoyed by his offer for assistance. He's some kind of doctor, maybe? Or lawyer? It doesn't matter, really, because he said he was here for you. Those words go right ahead and burn themselves into the softest chamber of your heart. You start telling him that your plight thus far, reaching up through the brambles toward his beacon of hope. This guy seems trustworthy, and that's not just your lack of options talking, you swear. As you shift, the moonlight shines on you. He steps back briefly, dropping the card. The one eye that's not covered by a swoop of product-infused hair opens wide. That's a great face. He recovers, smoothing his hands down his chest and straightening up, clearing his throat as you continue to explain. Oh, yes, an alien. I knew that. I've done work with aliens before, so your situation shouldn't be an issue at all. Everyone deserves an equal opportunity to be represented by me. In fact, we may be able to use this in our favor for a larger cash settlement. It all depends on our angle. Here, try moving your chug column. You aren't sure why this is necessary, but you wiggle your torso, hoping that's right. You've never wanted anything more in your meager existence than to follow this specific directive perfectly. No, not that. I like how he has like a little sign here line as his typing work. You add a little hip jiggle, not so much that he might think it's a come on, but enough to say, hey, I'm friendly and I know what the fuck I am doing. No, you're the thing that holds up your think pan. Work with me. You continue with what you hope is part of a troll friendship ritual, shimmying various parts of your anatomy deeper into the bush until you get to your neck and he claps his hands together. There we go, that one hurt, didn't it? Definitely a case of column snap, which can get us a decently hefty restitution. Your neck feels fine, or it doesn't hurt any more than the rest of you, but you give him what you hope is a convincingly painful nod of agreement. Of course, you will need to front the initial laceration costs. We may also have to injure you further to ensure our case is convincing, but you've got to break a few cluck beast embryos to make a grublet, as you well know. Yes, I think we may make a mutually beneficial team, if you're willing to do what it takes to bring about the justice you deserve. So, what do you say? How would you like to help me help you? He's talking really fast, and you're not sure exactly what to think about your lack of funds or this idea of breaking any more bones, but that smile is sharp and shiny and pointed right at you. You want more of it. He's talking. Okay. Save. Here. Close. Alright. Ask him if he does pro bono work. Tell him about the heaps of money you definitely have. You mention how incredibly loaded you are and how core to your sense of values it is to pay well for good work. That's what we call good business. Now, get up out of that prickle frond and let's get you presentable. He watches you flail a few times before he sighs, unbuttons his sleeves, and rolls them up to his elbows. Each fold is crisp and even. It takes a while, but you're good at being patient. Drinking some milk for my throat. There is a 12% cost increase for instances of manual labor. It can all be explained in your bill. It's itemized. I'm sure an alien amine such as yourself will be able to handle it. You take his hand as he pulls you up and out of the bush. It's kind of a rough job. He's not as strong as he looks, he guesses. He glares at you like he's daring you to say shit about it, and you are a quick learner. He cuts you off mid, thank you. My office isn't far from here. We can go there to get things started. And by things, I absolutely mean get you clean and sign a lot of vaguely worded yet stringently binding documents. He walks with a purpose. You shake off the flora stuck in your various body parts and do your best to catch up. From the outside, his office basically just seems like his hive. You've learned a thing or two during this shitstorm of a cultural exchange, though. You gotta play it cool when a potential friend invites you home. You never know what cages or monsters or methods of evisceration they may have lying around, and you want to prepare a nice, chill look on your face for whatever carnage you're about to be confronted by. It doesn't work. Your face falls to bewildered hell when you walk inside because it's all chrome and glass and broad white walls in there. So he's got a ferret. Or is that a weasel? It's like he bought the fanciest looking crate and barrel display room he could find, down to the last useless minimalist accessory, and then never sat down in it. His Lucis, a ferret, is chilling on an enormous silver thing that's halfway between a throne and a play tower. Everything is clean and bright and at perfect right angles, and you don't see any weapons anywhere. You don't need to see any weapons. It's fucking creepy. You ask him if he just moved in, because polite conversation seems like maybe the best thing you can do. In the absence of something specific to focus your fear on, you're just sort of a little afraid of everything. You're not paying me to learn my life story, unless you'd like to. In that case, no. I've lived here most of my life, I'll go ahead and add that to your bill. You stare at one of the chairs. Should you sit in it? By all means, do not make yourself at home. Head straight to my ablution trap while I prepare our contract. You really want to connect with this guy, and you like how you just vibed there when you were thinking about sitting your bedraggled ass in this fancy chair, and he could totally tell you were thinking it, but you don't want to be friends badly enough to walk straight into something that has the word trap right there in its name without at least pondering it for a second. You become savvier during all this. No entrapment, please? You told me you would rather stay away from any and all traps if that's alright. You mentioned that you think that's a better move for both of you. Something tells you that this guy wants to know what's in it for him. Probably all the times he's said explicitly that. You do have the vibe going, after all. He taps a claw on his chin and looks you up and down. He takes his time. You try not to blush, no matter how exacting his gaze is. Present a solid case. Your whole look is more than a bit repellent, but it may make the pitiable lost alien angle more emotionally effective. You still look like you just got run over. Frown. It takes you a second to realize he didn't just say his physical emotive response instead of doing it with his face. He's giving you a direction. You stick your lower lip out and try to look as pathetic as possible. Yes, this is really working for me. It's awful, completely repugnant. Your general squalor should function as a simple manipulation tactic, no matter which direction I decide to spin it. The praise makes it hard to keep frowning, but you do your best to keep it up, even hunch over a bit and shamble a few meager steps toward him. Great, yes. That's enough, no need to come any closer. Okay then, we'll skip the hygiene and get straight to the best part, bureaucracy. Stay right there and don't get any of your crusty alien orifices near my decor. I'll go print out our contract and we can move on. You pretend you're a statue while he types things and prints the typed things, then staples the printed things. His Lucis stares at you with beady interest. You stare back, completely motionless. You wonder how often Gorgor has friends over. He brings the packet over to you and hands you a pen. Read this or don't, sign it either way. It's a standard legislator agreement, tweaked a bit to accommodate your particular situation. You know, you agree to submit your testimony to be judged and will accept whatever subjugation you receive. You recognize that any potential winnings are to be remitted to me for processing through a local account before your promotion portion can be dispensed to you. In the event of your culling, I will act as executor of your accounts. Blah blah, same old business. I'm sure it's the same where you're from. There are stars at each place through our to initial. Looks like I disconnected. I'm gonna blame the weather. It's raining outside. Maybe it's jostling the thing around. Is it work? Well, I don't think anyone's here anyway, so I'm just gonna keep reading this. That sure was a lot of stuff that you just got told real fast. You were trying to listen, really, but he winked at you early on in his monologue, and it was really distracting because you couldn't stop thinking about it. And if you could incorporate a wink into a secret handshake, maybe? Anyway, regular legal jargon, yeah, just like all the times you click to say you read the terms and conditions on any old harmless social media app, that stuff never ends up being relevant. You show off your exquisitely polished John Hancock as many times as it takes. Excellent, excellent. Everything's in order then. Are you ready to head out? Oh, like now? Now? You're not ready? Did you look roughed up enough? Will your bones need to go through any more ordeals? What's a subjugulator? Does Tagora... No sweep like the one you're fucking in, as they say. Pardon the language, it's an idiom. It means it's time to fucking go. Let's watch the fucking language. You follow him out about as apprehensively as you followed him in. As you retrace the path you took not too long ago, it occurs to you to wonder where this glorious seat of justice is going to take place, and like if anyone is going to subpoena the asshole that hit you. Is that even a thing here? You skip up to match Dagora's pace and ask. There is no real need for you to worry about that. It's for me to deal with. I saw the perpetrator, of course. If it seems prudent to pin the crime on them when the time comes, I will have more than enough credible evidence to condemn them. Their blood cash should be sufficient, but if it seems worth it to call in their dented scuttlebuggy, I can certainly do that as well. Bonus for potential frame job. Of course, that's not the only way we can spin this. It may not be necessary to involve them at all. Don't bother worrying about that either. Every time I talk to him, it goes, well, isn't that like a real lawyer, I guess? You definitely still worry about that, but you nod and keep walking like you're not bothered. You want to match his level of easy confidence. It's almost comforting to be around it now that you've spent some time with him. It's simple. You're still basking in the ease of being told what to do when the whole vibe flips over on its ass so fast you feel like ice down your back. You look at Jagora first. He stopped walking, and his posture somehow gets straighter. Even his cute little ponytail thing looks more alert. He's staring at the approach of another troll, a blue guy. You know that means high blood, but not much else about what that entails, aside from what you're picking up on the full, hair-on-end cat reaction from old Gorgor next to you. Pleasant evening, sir. His voice gets somehow sweeter and more professional at the same time. You recognize what he's feeling because you felt it yourself the whole time you've been on this godforsaken planet. A deep, all-consuming thirst for approval. He's gunning hard for business boy friendship. The high blood, however, is not. At first you think he might be chill because his smile gets huge, and hell, if you don't love getting smiled upon, you start to introduce yourself until Segura shoots you a "be cool" look. It's then that you learn that this blue guy's smile is not the nice kind. What's this? He asked. Gorgor picked up a little friend. It's not. We have a working relationship. You try not to let his dismissal of your friendship sting. You're not there yet. It's okay. You want to be helpful, so you put on your best injured face and start hobbling in a circle, twisting your neck the most grotesque angle you can manage without actually hurting yourself. You groan pitifully about all of your bones. Oh, right, your booming drone pursuing business. This, client you have here looks extra shitty. Good luck getting anything good for whatever this mutant is that you scraped up from the gristle grate. If you take a moment to consider the potential, the blue guy rolls his eyes and keeps walking, elbowing his way right between the two of you on his way past like you're nothing. Tagora freezes. His eyes stay fixed ahead of him where the blue guy was just standing. It's like he hasn't processed the movement yet, even though we got knocked back a few steps in his wake. He starts shaking. Yikes, that was, tense. You want to say something reassuring to Tagora, but he has kind of ascended into another plane of existence. Maybe a nice reassuring pat on the shoulder will help diffuse the mood. You put a ginger hand in the mere vicinity of his body and he whirls to face you, eyes narrowed and breathing heavy. You snatch your hand back fast. Mistake? Do you have any idea how rare that networking opportunity was? Do you realize what you... No, of course you don't. Damages for slide down antisocial ladder. You don't know anything. You're just a weird little hornless thing who doesn't even know how to cross a fucking street. He starts laughing all high-pitched and weird. Up until now, he seems so slick, so unflappable. That Gorgor is hard to reconcile with, the one pacing back and forth, hollering and grabbing at his face. He's pretty goddamn flapped. Oh boy, you really screwed up, huh? Maybe your busted neck routine was not convincing enough? Or too convincing? Either way, you figure now might be the time to bow out before the scene really blows up. You tell him so. Your neck is fine. Look, you headbang a bit to prove it. No, a deal is a deal is a deal. He breathes in slowly through his nose. Yes? Where's the nose? All right, Gorgor, remember your mantra. He closes his eyes. After an awkward minute of watching him whisper something unintelligible to himself, he opens them and immediately starts up that bonkers pace again, so you skedaddle to catch up. He keeps talking, though by now he's just talking to himself, with you as an eavesdropping barnacle with really slow legs. Little manic giggles bubble out in between his sentences. We're heading toward justice, all right? Keep walking, we're seeing this through. I've got a bottom line to uphold. Okay, not bad. Maybe things are still cool between you. Maybe this lawyer-client relationship still has a chance to blossom into something more. You venture a friendly type topic and ask him about his mantra. He stops walking and looks at you like you shat on his Lucis's grave. You don't just ask someone what their mantra is. Maybe not so cool. He shivers, spooked, and turns a stanky stare from you to the path you're on. After a moment, he moves back all the hairs he shook out of place during his freakout, pivots, and turns down a side street. Anyways, as I was about to say, there are many ways to fulfill the terms of our contract. I was hoping this would lead to a more stimulating evening. I was prepared to get into it with you, for you. But it has become clear that this partnership is no longer worth the work. especially now that I'll have to consider the significant career setback I just experienced at your feckless hand. So instead of wasting any more time, my time or yours, let's take a shortcut to the same end result, sparing us both the agony of enduring a long court battle and the proximity of one another. Here's your verdict. You're guilty. Guilty? Wait, wasn't it supposed to be the other guys on trial? You look around, panic rising in your chest. Oh, don't tell me. You don't know the legal system works either. Unsurprising and uninteresting. The stream is just gonna keep reconnecting, I guess. Oh, this is bad. You've been so caught up in watching him talk that you didn't notice him even guiding you straight into the shittier part of town. You know, the part that's full of half-demolished hives and creepy noises and drones flying around. Drones like the one that turns to notice you when Tagora whistles, snaps his fingers, and points right at your head. Hey, big guy. Over here. One extremely malformed and unviable troll. Just the way you like it. Maybe you shouldn't feel surprised at this betrayal. Maybe you do, for a second anyway. Then you focus on yelling and scanning for possible debris to hide under. Tagora starts backing away as the drone gets closer. There's a sewer the next street over. Probably won't make it. But if you do, check your pocket. Dues for specified for bad end. Oh no! The freaking money coming out of my pocket. Well then. That one was hard to tell what to do because it just seemed to be going fine. Oh, I should have hit the load. Wait, let me, yeah. Take a goddamn bath. Let's see how this one works. You're more than a little concerned about the trap part of the instructions you just received, but hey, at least a trap you know about is better than one you don't. And with everything else you can see, it's so freaky pristine, he has to be hiding something evil somewhere. I wonder if it's a dungeon. A dungeon could be cool. The ferret bounds off its pedestal and jerks its head for you to follow it. You do, because it seems like a regular thing to do, and Tagora is busy on his computer. It leads you to a bathroom, which is just as fancy and clean as everything else you've seen. Elusus chitters at you for a second, squirms in its big noodly body around, and leaves, shutting the door behind it. You wait a second till it's probably gone before you test the handle. It's unlocked. Huh. You wonder what the point or, motive might be for leading you to this room until you turn and see yourself in the mirror. That is some haggard-looking stuff right there, so... fair? You're flying by the seat of your pants, but you guess maybe you're supposed to take a bath? If not, and he gets pissed and unleashes the ferret on you, at least you'll meet your maker nice and clean. Oh, wow, it started raining outside really suddenly, and I got scared by some thunder. And the rain itself is really loud. Jesus Christ, okay. You have to expect some indiscernible goo or blood or something to come out of the faucet in the weird lumpy tub, but thankfully it's just water. Once you're in, you take a look at the truly inordinate amount of bath products you have at your fingertips. There are 3 shelves of little bottles and soaps and unidentifiable lathers and accessories by the tub alone. There's even more by the mirror. The labels are all gibberish, of course, but you sniff a few until you find something flowery and go to town. You take more time than you should be in there, but you haven't experienced a moment of luxurious solitude in a bit. Full-time friendship searching can be difficult work. It's good to recharge. Once you're freshly scrubbed and dried, you slather yourself head to toe with some lotion you find in an iridescent vial. You hope he won't mind you using it. He wants you to be presentable, and this stuff is sparkly. You're starting to feel rejuvenated as hell, ready to knock this friendship stuff right out of the park. You leave your dirty, torn-up old clothes on the floor, wrap yourself in one of the many satin bathrobes folded on a shelf, and head back out to find Tagora. He's standing in his foyer, waiting with the contract he typed up for you. When he sees you, his eyebrow ticks up. I see you went with the Rainbow Drinker Serum, full body application. Oh my! Bold choice. I mean, it's an incredibly rare and expensive product, and I do expect to be remunerated, but I won't lie, it works. Crush fresh handmade troll prosthetics. Oh dear. Yeah, sure, that stuff. You don't want to let on that you don't know what it is, since he seems impressed. Instead, you give his ego a little stroke and tell him that you hadn't seen such a sumptuous array of self-care accoutrements in so long that you couldn't help yourself. Not everyone takes skincare as seriously as they should. I assumed you were taking forever in there because you'd gotten lost or didn't know how to use the ablution trap. I hadn't considered the possibility that you were just doing your regimen. Noted. Rebate for impeccable skincare. You hold your arms out to admire the well-hydrated sheen you have going on. This time you're not really even bullshitting, it does just actually look pretty good. Tagora seems like he's struggling. He keeps opening his mouth to say something, then changing his mind. He's clutching the documents in his hands like a flotation device. He looks down at them, then back at you. I typically only use that particular product to highlight my cheek blaze, but there's no real reason you shouldn't apply it even more liberally, especially if cost isn't an issue. It's a little drastic for my personal style, but there is a certain unorthodox glamour to it. The next bit looks like it hurts him a bit to get out. Do you? Would you like to step outside to see the full effect? You bet your ass you would. You're curious about what he means by effect, and this stuff seems more fun than signing stuff. You're going to glow. That's what the rainbow drinkers do. He places the documents down on his desk like they're made of glass, not paper. He looks up at his Lucis, who just sort of tilts his head to the side. You look away and give them privacy to do whatever eyeball communication is going on. After a bit, Tagora clears his throat and heads toward the door. You don't comment on the bluish flush in his cheeks. For all the shift in his demeanor, he still seems like he might kick you out on your ass if you tried to get too feelingsy with him. You start to glow as soon as you step back out into this dark front yard. Not in a light bulb kind of way, but a subtle, ethereal luminescence. What is this stuff? Now that is a look. I mean, there's still the unfortunate issue of your hornlessness and overall aberrance, and the fact that you're still wearing my ablution robe. Ablution robe rental fee. But it's cutting edge, I'll give you that. You look almost like a real one. Oh, are we gonna pretend I'm a rainbow drinker? You don't know what that means, but you want to roll around eternally in the praise part. You ask if the look will help your case. You're right, your case, of course. He bites his lip and looks back through the window of the paper sitting on the desk where he left them. You hope he still wants to represent you, or at least that he'd want to hang out even if he wasn't going to. You don't get a chance to prod, though, because right then someone rounds the corner on the sidewalk in front of his hive. Tagora's face immediately shudders into his usual simpering mask. There's an edge of panic around his eye, though. Huh. Wow, Gorgic, what have we here? It's a blue-themed troll, which, if you remember right, means he's a fancier guy than Tagora. He's grinning like Troll Christmas came early. You can feel Tagora vibrating out of his skin next to you. Who even is this guy? When he gets close enough to get a good look at you, he jumps and screeches. What the bulge-boiling fuck? Tagora is frozen, the corner of his mouth pulled back to show his teeth. The new guy is ignoring him, and in favor of noticing that you're dressed in Tagora's monogrammed leisure wear, if his look of fascinated horror is anything to go by, you don't really know what makes you do it. You should wait for Tagora to get himself together and do the talking, but you're riding the high of him, almost seeming like he was enjoying your company. Plus, nothing boosts confidence like looking like a beautiful spooky angel. So you toss your head, put on your best fancy guy voice, and say, what, never seen a real one before? You're placing all your chips on this guy knowing something you don't, but when his eyes get huge and he starts stumbling over himself to back away down the sidewalk, you know it's paid off. Tagora blinks, then jumps right in, picking directly where you left off. Surely someone as well informed as you knows a rainbow drinker when he sees one. The blue guy doesn't respond with anything more coherent than a string of yelps as he hightails it back the way he came. When he's gone, you turn to Tagora and ask him super casually what a rainbow drinker is. He stares at you in stunned silence. Are you telling me you didn't know? You nod. I bet you ran with it anyway, exploiting the fear you picked up on to turn the tide of a delicate encounter to your favor. You shrug. You guess so. You tell Tagora you hope his friend wasn't too freaked out. Friend? No, I hate that guy. There are simply times when being liked by your betters is helpful. Though, technically, fearing me is just as good. Better, maybe. So you know. Thank you. Tagora's laugh is soft. It's not a sound you expected to hear. He's happy because of something you did. You can't help it. You start laughing too. That was a bit of a rush, wasn't it? It was almost fun. I certainly didn't see it coming anyway. I underestimated you. He gives you an appealing look, then takes a deep breath. You're so nervous all of a sudden. You feel unbalanced on the precipice of what he might be about to say. From one prevaricator to another, I will let you in on something. I haven't actually encountered an alien before. Surcharge for truth reveal. Oh, sweet relief. You tell him this act was airtight, and as long as everyone's doing the truth thing, you admit you lied a bit too. You aren't actually rich. Yes, that's clear now. You have the invaluable ability to fake it, though. That's potentially much better. Why don't we put your case on hold for the time being? You wouldn't have enjoyed the outcome of our legal system anyway. preemptive interest on held suit, we could find an alternate means of you working off your debt. I think we may make a better team than I previously anticipated. With our wits combined, we can tackle bigger and better things than traffic injuries. He flexes his hand at his side, then in one swift and decisive movement, he extends it out to you. On his face is something close to an honest-to-God, real-ass smile. I've never actually formed a legitimate partnership of any sort before, but I believe this is how it's done. What do you say? The glow in your heart shines brighter than your expensive and still kind of mysterious lotion. You take his hand in your firm, no-nonsense grasp of pure, inexorable joy and shake it. Friendship! Just sign here. I guess this is close to friendship as that guy guessed, but you know what? That's fine. Also, I really like this illustration here. Good effect on the rainbow glow. That was lovely. I really like the character writing on this. Hamsteak has always had good character writing. That's pretty much everyone's favorite thing about it, even if everyone does kind of woobify the characters, but you know. Let's meet this next pal. I'm guessing the right with a W is referring to this guy who looks like a pirate. A pilot. I can talk. It's probably best for you to stop trying to predict what's going to happen to you at this point. Everything that's happened so far on this planet has been kind of chaotic. In fact, you're ready for something more familiar. You head back to the site of your abandoned spaceship. Sure, it's smashed beyond repair, but it's a little slice of home. Maybe at least one or two pieces of it are fixable. You march off in what you think is the right direction. But when you get there, you're not alone. A little guy in a hat and big goggles is standing there, gazing at your spaceship, maybe assessing it. As you watch, he breaks off a couple of gears and stuffs them in his pocket. Hey, you clear your throat loudly. Good galloping gravy. Why, I've never seen the likes of you before. Oh my god, I love him. What strange wonders the heavens have rained down upon us today. You quickly lose any indignation you were building up. He's smiling at you, and his words seem at least somewhat amicable. Oh, his music is fantastic. Maybe you got this all wrong. Maybe this is the next person you're gonna get chummy with. You cut right to the chase. No point in beating around the ground leaf covering. That's probably what they call it on this planet. You let the guy know you're the proprietor of the spaceship he's stripping, and you're in mighty need of a new friend. A friend, eh? A bosom companion, a pal about town. I've seen nary a tan man Dickus or Harley around these parts who might fit the bill. You were kind of trying to imply that this guy could be your friend. Is it too late to say that now? You try to imply it with your eyebrows. As for me, day-to-day matters here on Alternia interest me not, for I care only about hurtling at great speeds through the boundless expanse of the cosmos. That's right, space. It is spaceflight that consumes my every waking thought and all my ardor. And in accordance with my duty as a future Alternian crusader, of course. No oxygen, no wind, a total vacuum. That is the life for me, all right. I love his little tusks. Flying in space above the atmosphere, not within the realm of gravity's purview, wouldn't have it any other way. Right, you get the feeling you're missing something. This guy seems really defensive about his interest in spaceflight. Like, maybe he's trying to say something totally different? Whatever it is, his internal conflict clearly takes precedence over your issues. He seems like a great candidate for a friend, despite the fact that his voice sounds like it belongs over a newsreel about World War II. I have just one query for you, sport, if I may be so bold. Do you also like spaceflight? Do you yearn to see the moon shining above, the clouds whipping by as you chase and tease the impish western wind, and then also keep going past that up into space? Tell him you love spaceflight. Tell him you're not so sure about spaceflight. I want to see what happens when I do this one, because maybe he'll want to convince me that spaceflight is amazing. His eyes widen. You see them sparkle. Ah, I see. You're an individual with a more sophisticated palate. A real connoisseur of the buoyant arts you are. Someone like you can never be satisfied with the anemic affair of traveling through the inky blackness of the galaxies. I believe a jaunt to my hive is in order. Let's get a wiggle on. There was a lot going on there, but you understand that he wants you to follow him? Oh my god, I love this house. The friendly guy takes you to a building where all of the rooms seem to be balanced on spindly looking stilts. The hive soars above you into the sky. He gestures to a little platform attached to a pulley system, like a rudimentary elevator. It brings you up into a small, dark room. His house is pretty much what you would have guessed. The walls are covered in star maps and pictures of spaceships. This place is great. I love that this one looks like a manta ray and this one looks kind of like a shark or something. Okay, this is fantastic. You notice that many of them have cheery slogans splashed across them, saying things like explore the galaxies because you're required to fulfill your duty to society, and enlist, travel, make friends, don't get cold. Your new friend doesn't seem too happy as he looks around the place. Just the high for a dedicated spacecraft enthusiast, isn't it? You nod. You're not sure what this is leading to, but no one ever went wrong relying on non-specific and plausibly deniable agreement. Who am I fooling? You rumble me, potential new chum? What you see here before you is a collage of falsehoods. I'm nothing but an avatar of baloney. In truth, the myriad temptations and desires of space do nothing to tickle my biscuit. The thought of participating in the glorious eternal conquest gives me the screaming memes. My interest lies in something a little lower down. He reaches up and peels back one of the posters. Behind it is another poster, this one showing a view of clouds in the night sky. Behold, my shame. The truth is, I long to toss and turn within the grasp of Mistress Gravity's sweet fingers. To traverse the sky, can such a thing be? Imagine flying within the confines of Alternia's very atmosphere, defying the very conventions of what we all knew to be true. Instead of down, up, instead of falling, soaring. Can you imagine? Can you see it before you? Can you ever dream of the existence of such a flying machine? What if I tell him airplanes exist on my planet? I brought you here to show you my truth, and you treat me to mockery. Oh no, an airplane, a plane that floats in the air. Flying machines are serious business. I think you should leave. Oh no. Okay, thought it was Paul. I got sent down shamefully on the little thing. Okay, let's go back to this one. Never heard of such a thing. Ah, but the future is ours to build, my strange-hued and unhorned comrade. What do you think? Does it excite you? Do my ideas rattle your buttons? You can't help but notice that he's referred to you as a chum and a comrade, but friend hasn't made an appearance yet. Do synonyms count, or is it just a tick of his speaking style? You look as earnest as you can and nod vigorously. You're almost positive this is the thing he really wants you to express interest in. Aha, the truth will out. You and I will share this fervid passion for the indulgences of the air, a dialogue between a troll, a flying machine, and the stars. But further away from the stars than we would be in a spaceship. I cannot stress enough how different of a thing this is. You can't decide between nodding and shaking your head here, so you furrow your brow and do your best to look thoughtful, like maybe you're contemplating the differences. This fellow's demeanor toward you is definitely shading to the more temperate climate zones. However, certain physical needs are starting to assert themselves. You're still pretty banged up from your previous adventures, but right now the aching of your stomach is screaming for attention. You humbly ask your friend to be if there might be any chance of getting a bite to eat. But of course. Why, if I'd known you had a rumbling in the old digestion bladder, I would have shut my lapper too sweet. Time for a good old nosh, a yummaroony, what ho! Now, how shall we obtain the victuals? We could venture into the great unknown, which is to say, out of my hive, or we could stay here, beholden to whatever twists and turns Lady Fate has in store for us in the nutrition block. What say you, new timer? Let's see what we have here. You tell him any food he has in the house will be fine. Surely staying here will get you fed more quickly. No problem at all, my fine and fervent fellow. However, I believe two kindred souls such as ourselves have more ways of communicating than mere words alone. I think I'm grasping the meaning behind your request. The signal from your transmitter is pinging my cranial orbed receiver. I can see what you're truly after is food for the soul. You definitely meant food for the body. You look for an opening where you might gently correct your new buddy, but he seems to be working himself up to say a lot more things. The delectable nutrition of what a troll's truest being craves. The sustenance of thought, of imagination, of desire. That which nourishes the self better than the finest grub noodles. Art, passion, science. You must have a hankering to see my flying machine design sketches. Despite your troubles, you can't help but think his enthusiasm is kind of sweet. You nod weakly. You make one last attempt, indicating that food might strengthen you to fully appreciate its work. No need to worry. I am fully confident in your ability to take in my glorious blueprints. You have shown yourself to have quite the sturdy noggin and a discerning glander bulb. I would welcome your input. Warmth blooms in your stomach. It feels nice to hear him compliment you. You're not sure what you've actually done to earn his praise, but you definitely don't want to ruin this now. Maybe seeing his designs will be fun, even on an empty stomach. Maybe it really will nourish you on a level that will help you forget about the prosaic earthly nourishment you thought you wanted. You tell him you're in. Not so fast. That which I am planning to reveal to you is what I keep closest to my torso pillar. It's not that I don't trust you, my footloose and horn-free cohort, but I think I would like to trust you a little more before vivisecting myself and displaying my bleeding organs before your penetrating gaze, which is a metaphor for exposing my portfolio. Might I trouble you to participate in a small trust trial? I think I've slowly gone off the mid-Atlantic accent and going into more like country. Hold on. Might I trouble you to partake in a small trust trial? No problem, you tell him. Your bud insists you make yourself comfortable while he gets a few supplies. After a few minutes, he returns with a fistful of fabrics in different colors. Here's what I've been bouncing around the old brain box of mine, buddy-o. I'm going to tie this blindfold around your face. Then I'm going to give you some instructions, and you're going to try to locate the case where I keep my treasured sketches. If you can find it, it's gotta mean we trust each other deeply. Like two wings working in unison to achieve liftoff. If that's how wings work, I'm still figuring out the principles of the matter. What a romp! Are you up for it? It's a little too late to turn back now, and really you don't want to. It's kind of a relief to have him tell you what you can do to earn his friendship in plain terms. Well, as plain as a guy's terms ever get. You give him thumbs up. Now we're on the trolley. He quickly ties the fabric around your face. The time is upon us. Time for the inaugural flight of our deepening bond. Time to nudge our fledgling companionship out of the nest and see what happens. Your new friend starts to direct you around the room. To the left. No, my left. Sorry, okay, I meant your left. And now onwards to the glorious future that lies before us. You smile weakly, doing your best to follow his instructions. He sounds happy, so you must be getting somewhere. Almost to the doorway. 3 steps forward, if you would be so— Wait! Crash. You stagger backwards from the impact. You hear yourself wheeze. The shock has totally knocked your lungs out of commission. Your chest jerks in tiny contractions as you gasp for air. Oh, beans. Ding dang darn it. Ding dang darn it. There's no pain, just an intense pressure focused on the center of your face, right around where you ran into something face first. You pull up the blindfold and you hear footsteps, which probably means your new friend is rushing over to help. He gets the blindfold untied and his face swims into your vision. He looks utterly gobsmacked. Why, I'll be a Hornby scrub food. Everything copacetic, new pal. You put your head to your face and touch something wet. Sure enough, when you pull your fingers away, they're covered in blood. Your nose isn't gushing or anything, just sending out a couple of rivulets to let you know it's having a bad day. Not so bad. You tell your acquaintance this, but he doesn't look any less horrified. Shivering stratocumuli. All this time I've been testing you, to see if we could place the tender gift of trust in your declawed little hands. And here you bestowed upon me the greatest trust of all, knowledge of your non-standard hematological attributes. I am truly honored, flabbergasted, absolutely pushed to the brink of rationality by such a display of faith. Never mind the trust trial. You deserve to see my sketches. Just wait here. Be back in 2 shakes of a baby baby's hindquarters. You sit down on the floor again, wiping the blood off your face. You're not going to question the stroke of luck you've been shown. Why, if you knew bleeding was the key to his affections all along, you could have encouraged some blood from the sites of your multiple injuries. But no matter. You snip the last of the blood back up into your nostrils, tasting metal at the back of your throat. When your almost friend returns, he drops a big stack of papers onto your laps. You page through the designs. The first few were rudimentary, mostly variations on spaceships with little notes like how to make it not reach escape velocity, and less jet fuel, shape could be less aerodynamic. And as you keep going, the designs get pretty interesting. One seems to rely on some big rotating sails to achieve lift. Another shows a light frame body attached to 4 jointed wings. You briefly wonder what he plans to make the wings out of before you see the note stating that these are dragon wings. A follow-up scribble states, flapping mechanism, how to soften rigor mortis. But hang on, you take some closer look at the machine's frame. This guy's sketch is pretty detailed. The frame doesn't seem to be made of wood or aluminum as you expected, but smaller individual shapes lashed together with some kind of cord. Maybe it's just a macabre aesthetic, but you think it looks like bones? You look back at the other designs. Now that you look at it, the sails in this one have a texture that might be leather or similar. The sketches themselves are picked out in a variety of colors, not dissimilar from some of the brand new blood colors you've discovered lately. Oh boy, you've been down this creepy alien road before. Using your lightest, most jocular tone, you question the bone shapes. You soften your words with a big, not freaked out smile. What's that? Well, I'm not a construction professional, you know. Gotta make use of what's available. Only cold low bloods and grubs, of course, not an ounce of insurrectional spirit in this fellow over here. Fear not, unhorned one. These wacky cultural differences, you just misunderstood. You take refuge in your old standby of nodding and smiling. It's none of your business what body parts this fellow uses or doesn't use to make his Wright brothers transformative fan works. Grants aren't for judging people's use of corpses as construction materials anyway. You know, when you crash landed on my planet, I had no idea what to think. Vicaire, old boy, you really shot the balls now. That's what I told myself. Telling an alien about your flying dreams, that's ruffled the kitty and no doubt about it. But now that we're here and you're having a looky-loo at my sketches, I'm thinking it might have just been right for us to meet all along. Perhaps the work of the capricious Madame Destiny. Surely he's about to say that you are friends. You can almost taste those sweet, friendship-affirming syllables coming from his mouth. You're just seconds away from that coveted F word. Or are you? Maybe you've misconstrued everything. You look back down at the sketches. Bones in this one, bones in that one. He says these plans call for the bones of aliens like him, at least if you understood him correctly. But they don't really look that different from, well, the bones you're more familiar with, your own bones. Your bones, which have already gone through a lot today and may seem to be in a kind of harvestable condition, if one was so inclined. You clear your throat. Haha, you say, he's not in the market for his material right now, is he? Like, right now? The friendly guy doesn't understand your question. You're not going to push it, but you do risk a quick glance at yourself and back at him, then back at yourself, just to see if he's checking out the stuff, so to speak. When you look back at him, he looks aghast. Oops. Heavens biscuits. Is that what you think of me? You think I'm the type to start taking people's body parts all higgledy-piggledy. As if there ain't plenty of thoughtlessly discarded rib cages to work with. That's the type of shit you're looking for in these parts. I'm afraid I'm not the type of aggressive heartthrob you're after. Can't be all in the macho, bloodthirsty, romantic hero type. Ready to whip out our organ harvesting tools at a moment's notice. I thought we could be friends, but now I see you're looking for something different. My apologies, I think it's best if you go elsewhere. You want to correct the misunderstanding, but you're not fully sure what the misunderstanding is. This guy doesn't seem to be in any mood for friendship right now. You hang your head. Looks like this is all just a big waste of time. Oh, don't. Oh, misunderstood. Well, let's go out and look for food. That worked so well the first time we did it. From your budding chum's words, it sounds like he himself isn't sure if there's any food in the house. Best to risk it and go outside. You tell him your decision. Top choice, buckaroo. Foraging is how I file away most of my time, after all. There's just one small matter to trouble the old brain power. We're venturing out to the unknown yonder. We should obtain some chow for my Lucius as well. He'll appear real grumpy Gustav if he goes too long without his nosh. You draw yourself up proudly. It's taken a lot of bizarre run-ins and harrowing close shaves, but you know all about Lucius's. You inquire about Gustav, was it? Ho-ho, what a card you are! No, my Lucius. I call him the Canary. He whips out a photo. It shows a smaller version of himself, his horns nothing but stubs, a far too big pair of aviator goggles slipping off his nose. Standing behind him is a large white fowl, big scraggly wings folded back against his body. You want to say an emu? Whatever it is, it's definitely not a canary. Its beak touches. Fuck. Wait. Was it this? His beak touches the top of your pal's head with something that might count as affection. He is not the persnickety sort. All kinds of bugs and leaves will tickle his fancy. Shall we away? Shall we greet the horizon that rushes forward to meet us with astounding grace? Shall we give ourselves over to the current of time's great river? Sure, you tell him you can leave the house. It's getting a lot easier to pay attention to only the words this guy says. It actually makes sense. You kind of enjoy his way of speaking, though. If nothing else, it gives you the feeling that he's really excited about this food quest you're going on together. Your alien pal leads you back down through the pulley system and outside again. The trip is not so easy on your busted ribs. The thing about walking is, when you walk, your body moves. You've had better times, is all you're saying. You indicate as much to your companion. Oh boy, I hear you. Moving while attached to Alternia service is the worst kind of hooey. The moment when autonomous flight is invented trembles ever closer to the present. Can you hear it approach? The wail of a distant klaxon, the call to adventure. It beckons us forward through the years, a golden thread stretching ever onward to that glorious inevitability. That's not what you meant, but his excitement cheers you up a little. Maybe you will feel better in the future when someone invents flight on this planet. Certainly by that time, either you'll either be farther along in your healing or dead. Either way, thinking about that future brings a little rosy glow to your heart. You ask your buddy where you're going to next. The world is our bivalvular sea critter. We'll go wherever the wind calls our names. Great. But if it's a short-term answer you're inquiring after, there's a specific plant the canary likes to eat. It's got white petals and leaves as red as a troll's most lurid desires. Could you give a holler if your bulbs fall on something of that persuasion? You agree to keep an eye out. You continue trudging along beside him, wincing whenever your steps jolt your injuries. Maybe a little conversation will help distract you. You ask your new friend what got him so interested in flying in the first place. What could be better? Up there, free of worldly concerns, the wind in your face and the horizon at your back, seeing the continents spread out below you, finally feeling that your personal aesthetic is appropriate for the given circumstances. You chew this one over for a minute or two. It seems like what really makes this guy tick is the travel and adventure thing. Or maybe that's just what you're getting from his general demeanor and pretty much everything else he said up until now. You're nervous to bring up anything that might make him dislike you, but in the interest of bonding, you forge ahead. Aren't there, you say with apprehension, maybe some similarities between flying and space travel? Like maybe being in a spaceship could satisfy some of these urges? What? There may be some superficial similarities to trick the common troll, but in essence, the blood pusher and soul of the beach, as different as night and day. As a mountain in a ditch, a star in a mud puddle. Don't get a fellow wrong, space travel is fine. Well, it's the only way to satisfy our bloodthirsty and nearly immortal overlords, and I look forward to such a time when I can be of service in the eternal millstone grind of intergalactic conquest. But it's missing the punch, the pizzazz, the kaboom, the trunk beats honk of it all. Just as you figured, you've stepped in it now. You're struggling for a response when out of the corner of your eye you spot a cluster of white flowers. Relieved, you point them out to your companion, who races over to gather them, but when he holds one up, you can see it as blue leaves, not red. Your shoulders droop. Seems like all you're doing is disappointing your buddy, who has been so nice to you. Or at least that's what you think you've read between the lines of his confusing speaking style. Fear not, my smooth-headed compatriot. These are not the loosest rations we sought, but this plant is people chow. Well, what I meant to say is we can eat it. Since we are people, it's food for people, not food made of people. To be clear, he comes back with a fistful of the flowers and hands you one of the blue leaves. You're not sure at all that food that's safe for your body will be safe for you as well, but at this point you don't have much to lose. Yeah, that's just gonna keep disconnecting, huh? Heck. Well, okay. Besides, with the way your stomach is groaning, it might as well be a perfectly seared steak. You put it in your mouth. Chewing on the leaf, you feel even more affectionate toward this guy than before. You were worried about this trip was just turning into an excuse for him to run some kind of household errand, but he really did find you something to eat. You were desperate to find some way to show him that you understand his interests. You want to connect to him on a deep soul level. Anything to get him to look at you with that treasured glow of friendship in his eyes. Whenever he mentions space travel, he talks about how it's something that he has to do, some kind of necessary obligation. So maybe there's a reason he's fixated on an activity that is kind of similar, but just a little different. Maybe he doesn't want to do the required thing, the space conquest, but doesn't have it in him to rebel entirely all the way. Maybe airplane flight, or whatever similar thing he is envisioning, is a compromise between what he has to do and what he wants to do. A balance, like all must find, in order to live as an individual in a society that shapes one's desires from birth. You cautiously open your mouth, heart pounding. You venture to ask your pal if he maybe would rather not satisfy the demands of the bloodthirsty overlords. It may be a part of him wants to get into his flying machine and, well, leave. For real. That's... He seems taken aback. Maybe you should never have said it. What a huge mistake. You probably pushed his friendship out of your reach for good now. Panicking, you point to the side, yelling that you see a big field of white flowers in that direction. Your potential friend leaps to action, seemingly also glad to be given a reason not to answer this question. He races forward in the direction you indicated. In a matter of seconds, there's a yelp, and your new acquaintance vanishes. Instantly, you realized your error. You didn't look where you were pointing. While walking, you unwittingly came close to the edge of a large cliff, which your companion has now disappeared over. You race to the side, your stomach flooding with fear. This is absolutely the opposite of what you wanted. You look down in horror. Your friend now looks approximately how you felt when you first crash landed on this dark planet. He is conscious, his face frozen in shock, but one leg is twisted underneath him in a nasty way. You may not be familiar with his alien anatomy, but you're almost positive that it shouldn't look like that. You call out to him in distress, sure he's going to castigate you for your mistake. The strangeness of his language won't make it hurt any less to lose this guy's trust forever. What ho! Kalukale! His voice floats up to you from the ground below, weak but somewhat jovial? Is it possible he's not angry? Oh, joy is happening! Oh, delight for the body and spirit! Did you see? Did your being absorb what occurred before your buried visage? I flew! Soared through the air, just for a moment, but it happened. An ecstasy like none I've ever known. You hesitate. Is it really possible that he could be taking this so well? That maybe your big fuck up was a step in the right direction after all? It's definitely a little worrying to hear him celebrate a dangerous fall, but none of that matters if he can secure his friendship at last. This is uncomfortably similar to what happened to Tavros. My strange associate, come on down here. We will celebrate in grand fashion this eve. How did you know that a brief sojourn through unfettered air would bring me such joy? You're a fine fellow, and a truly superb friend. Your heart lifts with joy. He said it. Of course, you now have to find some way to climb down a cliff. You've messed up with your messed up ribs, not to mention figuring out how to transport someone with a broken leg back to the house. You're not really sure if that's possible, or when the adrenaline that's got you this far will give out and force you to succumb to your own pain. But with a night full of difficulties ahead of you, you couldn't ask for a better balm than knowing you'll face them hand in hand with your friend. As somebody didn't hurt his hands as well. No matter, you did it! Yay! Woof! Oh no! Well, fuck, dude. Maybe I could do one or two more? Yeah, I might as well. I'm probably gonna have to get myself some water or something, but. Okay, I'm gonna do this one next. Volume 5 of an affection, unwanted or untrue. This one looks like a dark figure. I wonder if it's an adult? Okay, hold on. Gotta climb over my dog to try to get something. Ugh. To sip on. Because my voice is tired from all this yammering. Have any soda left? Okay. Okay. Oh! Fuck. Damn it. Dog, get out of the way. Okay. There's a lot of these, huh? Alright. Aw. Are they gonna keep releasing more? Okay. Okay. Volume 5 of affection, unwanted or untrue. Walking, you sure are doing a lot of it recently. Back on Earth, you never got near this amount of exercise. You're gonna be so in shape when this is over, provided you still have all of your limbs attached and your bones uncrushed. You could probably come up with safer ways to travel, a taxi or some sort of bus system, but you don't have any money and you can't read signs. Also, you're routinely covered in blood and bruises, so walking it is. Tired as you are, your feet still carry you toward friendship. We have a mystery and zebra kodak. Zebra, bruh. Okay. As usual, the streets are hopping, just bouncing around like an overactive bunny rabbit on Easter morning. Up ahead, in an intersection of streets, is some kind of night market. Well, every market on Alternia is a night market. Oh. Wait a second. I'm nibbling off a mini York peppermint patty, hoping that the menthol will soothe my throat. Okay. As previously stated, you are broke. Hold on, I got a call. Oh. Hello? Hello? Huh? Okay. I believe so, yeah. Oh. Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah, I can text you that in a minute. Okay. Alright. Oh, damn it. There's a leak in my roof that I just... No, hold on. I'll put my headset down. Okay. Had to go find something to put under the leak that I just noted was there. Water frickin' everywhere. Great. Okay. As previously stated, you are broke, but there's nothing wrong with a little bit of window shopping. Who knows what kind of awesome stuff you'll find? You can learn a lot about a culture from their stores. You are so intent on thinking positive thoughts that you are nearly at the market where you realize that quite a few people are coming toward you in the opposite direction. Some of them are running actually and screaming. Looks like something has gone down violence wise. It's not a stampede, you aren't in any danger of being trampled, and the street is wide enough to just step aside and let the crowd pass by. Or it would be. You get a brief furtive glimpse of a pair of focused yellow eyes under a low pulled hood. Then a hand grabs yours so tightly the tips of your fingers go numb. With a rough yank, you are pulled into the flow of the crowd. The troll girl who has a hold of you speaks quickly and quietly. You have to lean your head in close to hear. We're on a date and you're my mate Sprit, or my Moirail, whatever you want. We're just a normal couple out for a night on the town. You're gonna go catch a moopy and get some soft serve grub cream. You can get some soft serve grub cream, you feel me? Wow, okay. Play along? Your heart beats so hard you can feel it in the back of your throat. You adjust your grip a little and make your hand your hand easier to hold. In response, you get a squeeze like she's thanking you. You match her pace, surprisingly difficult feat considering how short she is. Behind you, people are still shouting. What the heck happened back there? Someone died. You figured that, but it's not exactly rare for Arturnia, is it? You've seen way more dead people here in the last couple of days than you've seen through your entire life on your planet. You let the troll girl you thought that was. You told the troll girl you thought that was just kind of normal here. Normal, sure, when low bloods get killed. Natural order of things, right? But with high bloods, it's different. Personally, I don't give a shit about the natural order. Doesn't matter what the job is, I'll take it. Oh, so a high blood is dead, and you are currently holding hands with the troll who did the dirty deed. She chose you to help her lay low, i.e., she made you her accomplice, i.e., you are now her friend. Helping someone carry out a cold-blooded murder is a super friendly thing to do. What had she called you? Her mate spirit? You aren't sure what that is, but it sounds great. You asked her what you should call her. My name's Pullipud. There's no reason to go throwing it around. Let's not talk at all. You want to point out that it won't look like a very convincing date if you're just walking in silence, but it would require talking, and she told you not to do that. A trio of the spiky robots go marching by, drones or whatever. Their big, ugly heads swivel back and forth like they're looking for someone. Polypa doesn't say anything, and she keeps her eyes forward, but she goes as sharp as a laser, every muscle in her body tensing. You feel it through her hand. Her fingers tighten on yours until the drones disappear into the crowd. She yanks you around the corner into a smaller alley connecting two roads. There's nothing here but a pothole and a couple dumpsters. Hold up a minute. Okay. Oh, she is like a polyp. Okay, so that will... I know that, I can't remember what language it is, but there's no language where an asterisk you go... Or, you know, like a tongue click. I can't do a good tongue cluck, but it's like a tongue cluck. So like, hold up a minute. Her hoodie has a symbol on the front of it, two overlapping gold ovals. Most trolls seem to have a symbol designated their blood color on them somewhere. This means she's a gold blood, right? But then Polypa yanks a sweatshirt over her head, and underneath she's wearing a tank top emblazoned with a symbol in olive green. It looks a little like a cat. It's pretty cute. Okay, so she's an olive. She tosses the sweatshirt into the nearest dumpster and kicks a button in the side, a whoosh accompanied by the silvery sting of immolation. Note to self, don't go dumpster diving in Alternia. Polypa grabs your hand again as you head back out into the street. With her other hand, she works the tie out of her hair, shaking it out of his ponytail, letting it fall in thick, sweaty clumps against her neck. Next, she reaches up and takes part of her right horn off. Wait, no, it was a little bit of veneer, an artificial bit to cover up a notch in the chitin. What are all these random wardrobe changes about? You wonder until you actually begin to listen to some of the conversations happening around you and check out the big billboard-sized screens mounted on roofs every few blocks. Seems like the rumor mill is already going hard. Apparently a well-respected Violet Blood is dead, killed in public in full view of witnesses by a gold-blood girl with a ponytail. Wow, you are really dealing with a professional here. I need to find somewhere to lay low until the heat turns down. I mean, we both do, since you're my associate now. I have a contract waiting, but I don't know what happened to her. It's possible she got spooked. Got any ideas for likely hideouts? I'm not from around here. You wonder what in the world made her think you have any idea what's going on ever. She keeps giving you sharp looks, as if she's gradually catching on to just who she has chosen to recruit. You want her to understand that no matter how busted you look, you are an amazing friend and co-conspirator. Well, here's your chance. What do you propose? What if we actually... It seems to be going okay, but okay. What if we actually do that? Polypa's mouth twitches. It could just be a muscle spasm, but you like to think it is a smile of approval and burgeoning camaraderie. Oh my god, she's so buff. Yeah, I guess we could. That's what people do on dates, right? It's been a while. I haven't seen a movie in forever. Let's do it. She squeezes your hand. You would have thought holding hands for so long would get sweaty and uncomfortable. You are certainly nervous enough, but her skin is surprisingly cool. With a couple of exceptions, all of your new friends have been literally cold blooded, also metaphorically for a few of them. But you aren't going to judge them for their lifestyle choices. That isn't your place as a friend. Regardless, your point is it's kind of nice holding hands, even if it is under completely false murder pretenses. Come on, there's probably a theater in there. Makes sense. You aren't from around here, and you don't think Polypa is either. But you can't always recognize a mall. But you can always recognize a mall when you see one. Stores and escalators and fountains full of slimy mall water that's probably been in there for years. The biggest differences between this and an Earth mall is that there doesn't seem to be anyone working at any of these stores. Everything is automated. That and the top floors appear to be reserved for high bloods. Polypa is still holding onto your hand. Gosh, it's like you really are on a date. This is very, very friendly. As far as you know, you have never been on a date with an assassin before. You can't read the showtimes and descriptions, you don't have any money, but Polypa chooses the movie and pays for you both. She tosses a couple of coins into a slot, and the machine spits out 2 tickets. You don't see any soft serve grub cream, but you are a little too queasy from mingled nerves and excitement currently to deal with anything called grub cream. You do, however, stop for a bag of buttery exploded kernels at the concession stand. The theater you follow Polypa into isn't crowded, but you still feel every pair of eyes settling on you as you walk up the steps. Your heart pounds and sweat slides down the back of your neck. You're just positive everyone can see right through you to this deeply controversial cross-species matchup you've got going here. Even worse, Polypa takes a seat weirdly close to the only other group in the rope in here. Man, awkward. The movie starts playing. Apparently in Alternia, there aren't any trailers before movies, kind of a bummer. If you're going to be stuck here, you want to know what hot new summer blockbusters you have to look forward to. Surprisingly, the movie turns out to be a romantic comedy. You expected Polypa to choose a thriller or a horror movie. From what you can glean of the plot, it's about a beautiful young Jade Blood who gets involved with a visiting Blue Blood and their servant, a big bumbling bronze. The portrayal of low bloods strikes you as vaguely offensive. They grunt and fall down a lot. The caverns look a lot fancier than you remember from the time you hung out with Bronya. Still, just a lot bigger and more glittery. The main character spends a lot of time pulling a jeweled comb through her lustrous hair. The dialogue is kind of incoherent, and you don't just think it's because you're unfamiliar with the cultural context. It also doesn't help that Polypa keeps up a running commentary throughout. The ban on conversation has apparently been lifted. I can't believe they added in the mistaken identity storyline. So unnecessary. Also, Black Rom is so boring in comedies. There's just no punch to it. I can't believe how bad this is. I don't remember the book being this garbage, but I read it a long time ago. My taste may have just been worse back then. You are looking at her in a whole new light. She shrugs, possibly a little self-conscious. What? You think I've been an assassin since I pupated? I used to have a blog for relationship advice and stuff like that. Of course, I was just messing around. I didn't know anything, aside what I read online. The 2 characters are kissing on screen. You have no idea who they are. Wait. You have no idea who they are. You are way more interested in the fact that Polypa has decided to tell you her life story in the back of a movie theater. The deep blue light from a scene in the burning caverns washes over her, making her look noble and sad. You are entranced. It didn't last, though. I doubt it had anything to do with my blog, but a few sweeps ago, a group of kids broke into my hive. I think they were high, maybe on Sobor. Whatever. They stole a bunch of my shit, killed my Lucis, and some little psionic fuck broke both my legs with his brain. Just because he thought it would be funny. You are riveted. You have a bit of a tragic backstory yourself, but nothing this dramatic. Polypa picks through the buttery exploded kernels with a delicate claw. I was trapped in my hive. I would have starved to death if it hadn't been for some teal who lived in my neighborhood. Just some little idiot who ran around with an Eastern Alternia replica sword, challenging Purbeast to duels. Teal bloods are pedantic bulge lords, but they do care about justice, and the kids had attacked me for no reason. I didn't break any laws. Anyway, that's why I'm equal opportunity for how I take jobs. Low blood, high blood, everyone is scum. One of the kids in the row ahead of you turns around to tell Polypa that if she and her Moira want to get all nasty and pale, maybe you should get a room. Polypa kicks the back of her chair and tells her maybe she should mind her own business. The girl looks about ready to jump over the back of her seat, but the guy next to her pats her firmly on the cheek, almost a slow motion slap, firm and intense with plenty of uncomfortably intimate eye contact. The girl settles down after that, and everyone goes back to watching the movie. The rest of it goes by with your head spinning and your heart in your throat. You're glad Polypa trusts you enough to share her past, but you were nervous about her talking about it in public. Wasn't the whole point of coming to the movie lay low? Think about it. When that girl sees the description in the alert, she's not going to be thinking about the noisy olive blood getting all conciliatory in public. It's way safer than sulking around, believe me. Gosh, Polypa really is an expert. You were so glad you got to go on this date with her, even if it was mostly fake. As soon as you're back on the street, Polypa pulls out her phone. Slowly, her face falls. Fuck, that little nooklicker. I thought she bailed on me, but according to her chitter, she's dead. They got her. Damn it. I told her to be careful. Her sadness is quickly turning to rage, vibrating off her in frantic waves. Her voice gets louder, too, and people are starting to look your way. Heckling in a theater is one thing, shouting at a phone about murder is another. This is going south fast. You've got to calm her down. Deploy the shushpap. For lack of a better plan, you copy what you saw the troll inside do to his angry date. You press your palm firmly to her cheek. To your intense shock, she blushes a deep olive green and her eyes slip closed. She leans into your touch as if she is drawing comfort from this tiny little gesture, then she blinks and pulls away. Listen, I'm technically on the clock right now. Let's be professional. She bites her lip, hesitating, then she reaches up and repeats the gesture on your face. An unbelievable warmth fills you. Could it be the warmth of friendship? You're a weird-looking, double-horn amputee with very few social skills, terrible survival instincts, and both short-term and long-term memory loss. But you're alright. If you ever want to learn a little cash, I could use a partner I could depend on. Is it raining? No, these are just tears in your eyes, tears of gratitude. Okay, don't get too choked up. You're definitely just gonna be bait. You assure Polypa that due to your general ineptitude, you wouldn't want it any other way. Yay! I wish that one had gone on longer, but also, very cute. I think, yeah, I have time for one more of these wacky adventures. Warning, you sure are doing a lot of it walking. Oh wait, yeah, walking. For a second I thought it was one of those things like, you know, where it's like in certain games it's like, oh, or it's like, hey, maybe chill out a bit, stop playing, but no. That would make no sense for the series. Your stroll takes you into a nice part of town that seems to have larger, more McMansion-style hives. Based on your past experience on Alternia, you're not quite certain that upper-class enclaves equal safety for you, but you might as well explore. You never know where you'll find your next friend. The power of positive thinking must be on your side because someone emerges out of the shadows of these sprawling suburbs. Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met. I'm sure I would have remembered someone with such unique looks. Zebra. You don't know where you are, do you? By this point in your time on Alternia, you don't know if it's wise to admit that you're lost and naive to the ways of the world, but you don't know what you could say to try and convince this guy that you've got any kind of street smarts. Take another sip. You nod your head reluctantly, but he actually looks more interested in you after the confirmation that you're new to the neighborhood. Have you perhaps found someone who likes you for your vulnerability and naivety? That sure would be fantastic luck. It's a good thing I found you. Not everyone is as respectful of lowbloods as I am. Oh, but I shouldn't make assumptions just because. You're not much to look at. My bad. I don't mean to be forward, but you're just so interesting. Mind if I ask what color your blood is? You hesitate. While you're still terrifyingly ignorant of the intricacies of Alternian society, you're starting to feel terrifyingly informed about the role that blood color plays in this world. And you've managed to gather by now that plain old human red isn't considered one of the better colors to have. What do? What happens if we tell him it's red? Red, huh? Wow, that's so unique. I've always liked the color red. I don't think I've ever filled a quadrant with a red blood before. The Casanova type. I don't think I've ever made friends with a red blood before. You don't know what the quadrant is, or what it means to fill one. Given your experience on this planet so far, you're nervous that it could mean something violent. Depending on the quadrant, possibly. But you don't want to further expose your ignorance, so you just say that you're as excited for this friendship as he is. You come on strong. Nice. You need a place to stay for the day, right? I can help you out with that. I've got plenty of spare rooms for guests in my hive. You know, because I believe it's important to help out the underserved members of the community when you can. My hive is this way, shall we? This guy's probably got some weird fetish or something, considering he is that shade of blue. You follow him down the street. You guess it must qualify as a nice sight because you see lots of other trolls walking around here too. Most of them are dressed as nice as zebra, and you see a few of the shabbier looking trolls that must be low bloods walking with high bloods. Today is actually Flushed Affirmation Day, so you'll see a lot of trolls taking their mate spreads out to celebrate. Lucky for you, my flushed quadrant is currently empty, so I'm all yours tonight. That sounds a little weird. He doesn't need to be all yours, so you assure him you're an easygoing individual who's happy to share your friends with plenty of other friends. Sure, sharing can be a good time if you're into that. I could be, speaking personally, like maybe with two low bloods, but not in an objectifying way. Everyone involved has got to respect each other, you know? Wow, what? You'd have no idea how your innocent comment about friendship got taken to this particular place. You decide that maybe the best thing to say here is nothing, because who knows how he might misinterpret you next. Looks like there are a lot of high blood, low blood couples out tonight for the holiday. Pretty unusual to see in this neighborhood, to be honest. It's sad, but most of these low bloods are probably with their mate spreads because it's socially advantageous. Pretty shitty of the high bloods to take advantage of that, but not everyone is as socially conscious as I am. I think it's super terrible when high bloods don't treat their low blood mate spreads like the queens that they are. Oh no, is he a nice guy? You look around at all the other couples. The class divide is pretty noticeable, and some of the high blood trolls have scornful looks on their faces when talking to their low blood dates. One troll dressed in cerulean is making her shabbily dressed mate spread kneel down so he can give her a ride on his shoulders. It can maybe be a cute coupley thing, you guess, except she's sure laughing a lot and has the heel of her boot pressing into the back of his neck. You don't want to speculate about what people might be into, but it does seem kind of humiliating. Zebra sees where you're looking and shudders theatrically. In the process, waving his arms around in disgust, he slips an arm over your shoulders. Why is there a little... Oh, that's just his symbol. I'm so sorry, you shouldn't have to see something like that. You're trying to think of a tactful and friendly way to move away from his arm around your shoulders when you arrive at what must be his hive. It's the biggest and most McMansion-y hive on the block, and when he stops in front of it, he lets go of you to gesture proudly at his sprawling home. Welcome to my humble abode. Just feel grateful, you know, to be able to share my wealth with those less fortunate. He's such a fucking skis bag. Yep, there's the zebra Lucis. When you walk inside the front door, you're greeted by a very distinguished-looking white zebra. It has normal zebra markings all over its body, except for around its neck, where dark gray zags have formed a shape that looks like a bow tie, almost like it's wearing a suit. You don't know how its zebra face is managing to radiate pure disdain when it looks at you, but that is unquestioningly the energy you're getting. I don't mind my Lucis, he's kind of socially old-fashioned. But he lets me keep low bloods around the hive to help out and stuff, so he's not all bad. To help out, okay? Got you. Let me give you the grand tour. As Zebra takes you through the spacious hive, you see other trolls in several of the rooms. Most of them aren't wearing clothes as nice as Zebra's. You're guessing these are the low bloods you just mentioned? They seem to be all doing chores, sweeping, cooking, exchanging green slime and troll-sized bathtubs for each other. There's bathtubs for other, possibly fresher green slime. Each of them glances up at you and Zebra when you pass by, then looks deferentially away. The Zebra Lucis is following you, and every time you exit a room it pauses in the doorway to whinny out what could be orders, or possibly it's just berating them. You arrive at an empty ballroom-looking space upstairs, where several low-blood trolls are hard at work cleaning up the remains of what must have been quite a party. Zebra seems to noticing how all the trolls in here are scrubbing the floor, and how they're all avoiding your eyes. See, I told you I'd taken plenty of guests. I believe it's important to promote diversity, you know? So that's why you don't see other indigo bloods here. Looks like all the guests are busy today. Well, an important part of communal living involves contributing your labor when it's necessary, right, guys? A few low bloods mutter in affirmation, while others just put their sponges and mops down to prostrate their whole bodies on the floor. Zebra looks a little uncomfortable with the bowing, but not that uncomfortable. He doesn't introduce you to any of them. They don't all realize yet that my hive is a sanctuary from the harsh injustices of the outside world. Anyway, enough about my low blood guests. Let's take care of you, shall we? Perhaps as Lucius has had enough of tolerating your presence because it takes the opportunity to stop following you and go huff at more of Zebra's guests. Now, for better or worse, you are alone, and Zebra has turned all of his attention on you. His smile seems very friendly. You want to see it as friendly. The night is still young. I'm happy to do whatever you want to do. If you feel like going out on the town to celebrate Flushed Affirmation Day, I have lots of other friends I could introduce you to. Help you meet the right kind of culture, you know? Sure. This guy is like, yeah, he's indigo, but he's raising like a million red flags. Or if you're tired, I can show to your guest room now and we can have a nice night in. Go out or stay in? Let's go out. I don't trust this guy as far as I could, throw him. You're not, I was trying to think of like a more Alturian response, but I couldn't. You're not crazy about the idea of being alone with this guy for the rest of the night. Plus, if he's as popular as he says he is, that means more potential friends for you to meet. You tell him that you're interested in going out. Cool, that sounds like a great time. I'll just go get ready. Actually, I think I'm more in the mood for a nice quiet night in. Maybe television streaming service and lower the temperature if that's cool with you. Oh my god. Boy, if that has the same connotations as it does on Earth, it's not cool with you. You stumble through expressing some misgivings, but he talks over you. Great, sounds like we both feel like staying in tonight. I knew he was a fucking nice guy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm psyched to stay in and have you all to myself. I just want you to feel comfortable, whatever we choose to do. Can we run for it? You're not sure why he asked what you wanted to do, since your preferences don't seem to matter much. My Lucius and my guests have probably prepared a delicious meal for you by now, but let's finish the tour first. I assume you want to see my room. You tell him, sure, bedrooms are a great way for people to express their personalities, and as his friend, you're interested in getting to know him better. He doesn't seem to have heard that part of the sentence, but it's okay. Hopefully you got the gist. When you get to his enormous room, it's decorated with posters and musicians on the wall and what seem to be social justice slogans. One poster has a symbol with clawed hands in several different colors coming together to hold a trident with the word unity underneath it. Another poster features a rainbow of colors ranging from rust to olive green that proclaims him to be a low-blood ally. Two other low-blood servants are in here, one of them standing on a step-ladder to dust some high shelves, while the other crawls around on the floor, scrubbing and picking up wrappers that Zebra seems to have just littered there. Pretty sweet place, right? You look confused by the posters. Your music taste probably isn't refined enough to have heard of some of my favorite bands. I only listen to subversive musicians that speak truth to power. Oh my god. Luckily, you have me to teach you how to confront your privilege and support marginalized artists. Also, did you notice my rad pile? It's a perfect setup for feeling jams with your moirail. He winks at you. You don't know what a moirail is, or what he means by feelings jam, which sounds like in theory it could be a nice thing, but maybe not given the sleazy way he says it. You tell him that it looks like a very nice pile of things. You spot a couple pillows, what looks like a puppet with a disturbingly long nose, some random bow ties, a few horseshoes. You look intrigued. Want to lie down on it for a second? We don't have to do anything, but sometimes it can be nice to just, pacify each other a little bit. He sprawls on the pile in what he probably thinks is an enticing way, like he wants you to draw him like one of your French girls. You turn away and try to hide the disturbed expression on your face, because turning down his advances probably isn't the best way to secure his friendship. As your eyes cast about the rest of the room, you notice that the low-blood servant scrubbing the floor is having a coughing fit. You can tell that she's trying to cough unobtrusively, but it seems like she's hacking her lungs up, with each big cough racking her whole body and making her shoulders shake. Concerned, you crouch down by her side. She jumps when she notices your concern and mumbles that she's fine, that you don't need to worry. But she doesn't look fine. Now that you're getting a closer look, you can tell that she seems to be underfed and exhausted, with sickly shadows on her face and scraped up knees and elbows. She looks bad, and you know bad, considering how much of your time you've recently spent stumbling around with various excruciating injuries. You mentioned to Zebra that his guest is not looking so good. He frowns, getting up from his pile of stuff to come investigate, blinking down at you in confusion and not sparing a glance for the low blood. What? What are you even talking about? The servant tries to go back to her scrubbing, but she struggles with coughing and scrubbing simultaneously. It's hard for you to watch. Surely she would feel better if she took a break and ate or drank something? You asked Zebra about that hot meal I said it was being cooked for you. Maybe you could give some of it to this poor sick troll. Geez, you're making me look bad. Ha ha ha. There's no way a guest in my house could be going hungry. I respect lowbloods and do everything in my power to take care of them. What, you think you're a better ally than I am? Considering your status or lack thereof on this planet, you're not sure you count as an ally so much as a member of the oppressed underclass, but you let that slide. You hasten to explain that you didn't mean to criticize him, and you're sure he's doing a fine job at being an ally to lowbloods. Yeah, well, it's not easy. Whatever. Maybe we should go eat now. I don't feel like having a feelings jam anymore. He turns and leaves the room without showing any sign that he'll do something for the sick lowblood. You mouth an apology to her behind his back, and she just gives you a tired wave and goes back to scrubbing. Zebra leads you downstairs to the dining room, where Lucis is supervising a team of lowbloods setting a table with what looks like a 4-course meal. The look on the Lucis zebra's face is now even more disdainful than before, and his bow tie seems angrier. Looks like dinner is almost ready. Cool, cool. Of course, you're probably not going to offer to pay for any of it, are you? Figures. Lowbloods, I mean, trolls in general, are always expecting me to provide for them without ever offering any concupiscence in return. He's such a fucking nice guy. It hurts. Oh my god. He's like white knighting it up so hard right now. For once, you're kind of glad that you're unfamiliar with this alien vocabulary and innuendo. You have absolutely no money, which she definitely knows. You can pay him back for the dinner and friendship? Yeah, well, I'm not sure if I want to be friends with someone who has a problem with the way I do activism. I have it on good authority from every other highblood I know that my intersectional praxis is valid. You stumble over your words in your haste to assure him that you in no way meant to say he's not valid. You never met a troll so valid. No one believes in his validity more than you do. Whatever, it's just eat. You both sit down at the table while the lowbloods set up the table, light the candles, and serve the appetizer course. You can't help but notice that most of them look just as malnourished and sickly as the troll upstairs, but it might be best not to bring that up again. You eat in silence for a while, and Zebra looks like he's stewing over something. Then he sets his fork down and looks over the table at you with a frown. You know what? I just realized. You totally denied my lowblood her own agency when you questioned me about not feeding her. Yeah, what you said was totally problematic. You don't respect lowbloods at all, do you? Not like I do. You try to apologize, saying that it was not your intention to disrespect anyone, but that you're sorry you apparently did. He doesn't let you get the words out. People don't realize how tough it is to be a high-blood troll who believes in social justice. Seriously, I face all my own kind of oppression for speaking out and being an activist for low-blood rights. I'm sure, buddy. For one thing, I never get the conciliation or concupiscence I deserve. My quadrants are always going unfilled because no one else agrees with my radical views. Bruh, it's just because you're a douchebag. Huh. And I thought you'd be different, but you don't get it either. And you try to tell him that he's got you all wrong. You agree with his radical views and believe in low-blood rights, which is why you were concerned for his guest in the first place. But he acts like you didn't say any of what you just said. You're just another one of the oppressors, complicit in the unequal power structures of our fucked up society. You lack the awareness of your own privilege. Really makes me sick. You must think you're so oppressed with your red blood and multiple injuries. But what you're doing now, rejecting me and criticizing me, is really exactly the same as what subjugulators do to the low-blood sinkhole. You probably deserve whatever shitty position you have in society, unlike me. I deserved to have this nice house and low-blood servants and full quadrants for being such a good activist, okay? He's standing up by now, advancing on you with his zebra, stamping its hooves threateningly at his side. You scramble back, trying to make your way to the front door. It's tricky because you have to step around all the lowbloods who seem to feel strongly that they should get away from Zebra when he's angry. You don't make it to the front door fast enough on your own. With a terrifying equine scream, Zebra's Lucis rears up on its hind legs and strikes you with its hooves, battering you through the front door and breaking some of your freshly healed ribs again. Take your privilege and offensive views and get out. Anyone who doesn't respect lowbloods is not welcome as a guest in my hive. Okay, buddy. Oh no, right on the tits. It would behoove you to stay away. Oh my god. Did I mention I love the character writing in this game? Like for serious. Like seriously. This is one of the best this is one of the best examples of this type of character I've seen in a long time. Was it from back here? Oh wait, no. Load. I do kind of wonder what he'd say if I lied and said it was a high color. What, does it matter? No, you think that going with Zebra on Flushed Affirmation Day might potentially give them the wrong idea. And besides, they're pretty tired, so don't feel like going out. You tell them you're ready to retire to your guest room now. Yeah, sure. Oh, bro, by the way, have you heard of Chixie Roxmere? Shifty Roxmere? You probably haven't. You don't seem like you're a very serious music fan. But you've got a great opportunity tonight to learn from me. One of her low-blood musician friends is playing a show for the holiday, and I can get us in because I'm super connected in the scene. Oh, okay. We should go just in case he's there. Okay, so whatever, it's the opposite of whatever you say. She could have sworn you told them you wanted to stay in tonight, but that's okay. You can gather the remains of your energy and go out to this concert with him. That's what a good friend would do. He takes you across town to the concert, only trying to hold your hand or put his arm around you a couple times on the way, so it could be worse. Maybe hand-holding is totally platonic of Alternia? You hope so. The concert itself is one troll with a guitar and a harmonica who, according to Zebra, is a lowblood whose songs are spreading truly radical messages, almost as radical as Chixie's. You enjoy the tunes as much as you can, but you don't understand what the lyrics are trying to say. You ask Zebra what the lyrics mean, since the message is apparently important to him, but he gets annoyed with your question. What the lyrics are about, well, they're about a lot of things, social justice and oppression and stuff. It's hard to explain to someone who doesn't already get it. Like, if you're not on my level already, I don't know what I can really say, you know? But enough about the music. I want to talk about you. What sorts of things are you into? You haven't had many opportunities on Alternia to talk about your interests. How exciting! You said that you like playing games, but he's already interrupting you. Cool. Sounds great. Really interesting stuff. What's your quadrant situation like? It's harder to pretend that you know what he's talking about now that he's asked you about quadrants directly. You admit that you have no idea what he means by quadrant situation. Oh, you're even more clueless than I thought. Don't worry, I still find you attractive. That's not reassuring. He goes into a brief, but not really brief enough, explanation of the 4 types of romance on Alternia. Mate spritship, the flushed quadrant, which to you sounds the most analogous to human romantic partnerships. Moira allegiance, the pale quadrant, which sounds like an exceptionally codependent friendship by human standards. Auspisticism, the ashen quadrant, which you don't understand at all. And Kismessitude, the black quadrant, which just sounds like repeatedly hooking up with someone you hate. You're fuzzy on the details of all 4 of these, but you understand enough just to get that he's asking if you're single. You tell him that you really just want to be friends. Of course, I super respect your choices. If you ever change your mind, I'm right here, and being in a quadrant with an influential yet sensitive and socially aware indigo blood like myself could make it a lot easier for you to survive and thrive on Alternia. Wasn't he criticizing that kind of high blood, low blood, socially advantageous relationship just a few hours ago? It wouldn't be very friendly of you to point out his hypocrisy, so you don't mention it. After another song, another troll at the club sidles up to Zebra and whispers something in his ear, then skulks off again. Zebra looks alarmed, glancing around him and edging towards the club exit. I just got a tip that there's about to be a culling at this concert. We should get out of here. Definitely agree with him about wanting to get out of here. You look around at the rest of the audience still enjoying the show. You and Zebra are the only ones getting ready to leave. Is he going to warn any of the other trolls here of the danger? Oh, no, definitely not. If I were to warn any of these lowbloods that a coaling is coming, that can mean risking my life too. Not that I've ever tried, but everyone knows that. The high bloods here will probably be fine, though. We've got each other's backs. It's important to look after your comrades in the struggle. Sure enough, you can see that the other trolls here too, much like Zebra, stand out because they're wearing nice clothes, are casually but urgently leaving the concert venue. The lowbloods are still clapping and singing along with the singer on stage. No one has given them a tip-off. Come on, we gotta scram. Oh no! The two of you abscond, getting away from the music club as fast as your legs can carry you. By the time Zebra decides it's safe to slow down, you're tired and out of breath. Looking around, it seems like you've arrived back in the high blood part of town. You wonder if drones have descended on all those trolls at the club by now, and you just can't hear it because this neighborhood is too far away, closed off, and sheltered from the violence. Ha, that was a close one. Going to a low blood cultural events like that can be dangerous, but it's one of the risks you have to take if you want to be an activist. I can't tell you how many times I risked a culling to fight for low blood rights. Civil disobedience is the only way to fight the authoritarian state. Sure, I bet you practiced that in a mirror, huh? He turns to you and takes one of your hands, in both of his, looking deep into your eyes. I just think it's cool how you supported me back there when we risked our lives for the cause. That's probably the best way you can contribute as an activist and ally, you know, by supporting me. And speaking of activism, we were talking about quadrants earlier. Let's get back to that. This guy just does not want to take no for an answer. Once again, you reiterate that friendship is what you're looking for here. He nods enthusiastically and squeezes your hand tighter. Fuck yeah, I love friendship. I've always believed that a strong friendship is the best foundation for any successful romantic relationship. And many trolls start by being friends first and enter into a quadrant later. Even if you try to be friends but then fight too much, that can still prepare you for a colligonous quadrant. Either way, the thought of being your friend makes my blood pusher beat a little faster. Sure, you say, that's what we're doing is extolling the benefits of friendship, and boy, do you have some things to add to his list. For instance, friendship can give you a sense of platonic companionship with your fellow man, and friends can also come in handy when you need someone to help you move, or take you to the airport, or other non-romantic activities. You think friendship is a great thing to pursue for its own merits. Friendship is so great that once you have it, why would you want anything more? Hell yeah, totally. You're so right that friendship is a great first step. Did you enjoy the concert tonight? Did it persuade you to be an ally for low blood rights? You think that going by your blood color and how often you have almost gotten killed by those more powerful on this planet, you're more likely a member of the oppressed underclass than you are an ally. But you decide not to split hairs and just tell them that yes, you'll be an ally to yourself. And that's fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. If you're an ally to low bloods, then I'll allow you to be my mate spirit. Friend, you correct him, you can be his friend. Right? Yep, sure, I meant to say friend. He lets go of your hand finally. Oh fuck. The fucking heart. Oh my god. Oh no, the fucking club in the background was on fire! Oh no! Oh yeah! Wow, these are all just fantastically fucked up. Oh, alright then. Okay, I gotta sign off for now, but these are really good. There's a lot of them, but I hope I'll be able to get through more later. How many did I do today? I went through like one, two, three, four, five. I went through like five characters, so I should be able to get through these other ones in maybe the next couple of streams or so. Alrighty. I don't think anyone's there, but whatever. I'm gonna cut out for now and be on later for our stream time as usual. Goodbye.